direct from the pages of NZV8 magazine. This is NZV8TV. Nothing beats the sight and sound of a V8. But you knew that. NZV8TV, proudly brought to you by the Smiths Group, suppliers of leading automotive brands. Slipping and sliding at Taupo with the brutal thundering central muscle cars. Get a little high on nitro at the Nostalgia Drags. And go behind the scenes as Murph and I race for a pie. Today, as you can see, we're out at Pukekohe Park Raceway. It's post-Hamilton Supercars and we're out here doing a sponsor ride day with Murph. More about Murph later on, but while we're on the subject of circuit racing, last week we took a first look at the central muscle cars from Taupo. This week we go back for more of the action, focusing on Shane Wigston, who dominated the action in his mighty HQ.
We debuted this new car this season. It's the first season for it and it's gone pretty good out of the box. It's about just under 600 horsepower. I don't quite know what it weighs, I think it's around 1,400 kilos. So far the car's gone really good out of the box. It's a little 377 Chevy, built in Tauranga by a guy at BG Automotive. It's probably a little bit down on horsepower compared to the big boys, but it's a good engine, good package. Yes. I think it gets it's set up pretty good and gets power down good, which you definitely need on road tyres. You know, it's got to get the grip, so it gets good grip down. I think that's what makes it quite a fast car. It's got a 9-inch with a full floating 9-inch, and it's got a 4-speed Jericho in it. It's more or less standard HQ front suspension, except it's got coilovers in it now, but standard top and bottom arm, and 330mm fronts and 300mm rears, 6-pot front calipers and 4-pot rears. Started building it towards the end of last season, and Manfield was the first time I turned the wheel, so it's gone better than I thought it would.
Now, when I was a kid, HQs were surf wagons. But take a look at these onboard shots and see how long you reckon the surfboards would last on the top of this monster.
I'm Steve Hildred, President and one of the founders of Central Muscle Cars. I run the Monaro beside you here. It runs a 377 Chevy, Jericho trans, and pretty much Holden Chevrolet style diff. It's around about 650, 660 horse at present. I'd say most of the cars running with us are around that sort of area, around the 600 to 700 horse. This year we've all gone to our dot tyres, which has smoothed everything out, whereas previously we had slicks and the likes of. I probably built 2 cars. The first car never actually got to the track, and this was a donor car for the first car. And we eventually decided it was more rust-free, etc. And it was to be the new car. So it was about a 2-year build-up for the initial build, and it's an ongoing build. You don't stop building. Puke, I think the best we've got down to is about a 104, 103, 104 on slicks. And Taupo here with the new circuit is about 144 today on a cold track. So hopefully we'll get going a bit better.
Classic muscle car racing is popular on both sides of the Tasman with series like the Bianti Classics in Australia, but whereas over there you need to have an original car built in the era, here you can just recreate your hero's car from scratch.
My name's Paul Urqhart. I'm from the North Shore of Auckland. I built it about a year and a half ago, just as a tribute to the Pete Geeg and Alan Moffat Falcon of 1973 that won Bathurst. A lot of cars are being done up as replicas in our class, and I want to get in on the bandwagon. It's got a cast iron 351 Cleveland engine with CHI heads, about 600 horsepower, 4-speed. It's a T10 gearbox, very similar. All the cars in our class have very similar gearboxes. It's a pretty cool looking car. It's Australian. You know, some guys like the American cars. You know, they're pretty interesting, but I prefer the Australian ones. Reasonably standard. I'm a Group 2 car, so you can't do too much with the suspension. Still got leaf spring rear suspension, standard type front coils. Sway bars are free, etc. But they're pretty basic suspension. A 9-inch diff. It's actually got the diff the car came with from new. So a few mods, but. It's a genuine XAPT. It is. Wow. Yeah, found it in a barn. It was almost in a chicken coop. It was in a barn in Cow Copper.
Cool car, Paul, and beautifully done. You've got to love the Central Muscle Cars formula. Big power, street tyres, and a whole lot of sideways fun. And while we're taking a second look at history, last week we brought you some of the action from the nostalgia drags at Fram Auto Light Dragway in Mary. This week we go back for another look at some of the cool old school rails. Ross Taylor, NZV8TV top Doorslammer Champion, but this time driving something a little different. We also take a close-up look at Willy White's fearsome nitro funny car. I've sat inside this thing and I was scared, and it wasn't even turned on. More of Willy soon, but let's kick this off with NZV8TV champion Ross Taylor, well known for his antics in his 57 Chev. However, at the nostalgia drags, that 57 was nowhere to be seen.
This old girl, I think I was 17 when I bought it. Back to the late 70s when I was doing my apprenticeship. Anyway, I kind of drove it for a couple of years, and unfortunately I crashed it into a couple of kind of power poly things, and and it wasn't really good for putting it back as a hot rod or a street car as such. So we thought, well, why don't we turn it into a race car? Yeah, well, Jace, he's been very good crew chief, and on the other car, the Doorslammer, and Jason was 21 a couple of years ago, or a year or so ago, and I gave him the key to it. I don't know whether it was to keep it, but just to drive it anyway, and so he could experience this type of stuff, you might say. We used to run high 9s and 10s, and then just slowly every year someone would drop a couple of tenths, and over a 10-year period, of course, then everybody starts getting down to 8s and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm still waiting for the keys for the other one at the moment.
Yeah, it's only to keep them out of the other one for a little while. Yeah, I kind of enjoyed that season. I'm really looking forward to next season. I think I can toughen up, as you might say, and this next season we're going to pull some power out of the car maybe, and concentrate on getting the car down the track straight. Once you're in that thing and you can hear that motor working like a sewing machine, and you had it then, you can't stop, you just got to move on, and it's a great feeling, and I'd tell anybody to give it a go, and I guarantee you'll keep going for the rest of your time.
Rat rods are a growing movement in New Zealand. Check out this cool example.
Neil Surtezs and Wakatani Hot Rod Club. Yeah, went to a bit of trouble not to make it look too new, made from plenty of old parts. Yeah, it's a bit of humour really. It's got a Cadillac 1942 Cadillac flathead in it, with a few extra carbs and bits and pieces hanging off it. Model A 1930 Tudor body. It's just having a bit of a laugh, really.
And you can still register something like that for the road?